All right. Well, welcome back to Fossil Friday. Shlee, who do we have here with us today?
Yes, thank you. And we are back after a week of skipping a Fossil Friday, just because just didn't think with the light of political news and things like that. We just decided to, honor that and skip that for a week. So we are back with Everett Robert. So Everett is a good friend of mine and also a playwright, very well produced and well respected playwright, who actually was the OG OC Marsh. So when we first did Bone Wars, we did it as kind of like a mini show to sort of gauge interest. We did half of Act 1 is how we put it. So we had about 4 musical numbers. The show ran a little over 30 minutes long. And what we did was we hosted the show at the Sternberg Museum of Natural Sciences in Hays, Kansas. And we did the show outside and we did it as an interactive version. And that interactive version may actually stay as an educational version alongside the full-length stage version. But that was the humble beginnings exactly 10 years ago, which is crazy. Yeah. So in 2012. So I thought it would be fun to bring in someone who knows plays, knows Bone Wars, and knows Marsh, and get him in for a little bit of outside insight so you don't have to just look at our opinions all day long. So.
Just hear our voices talking about everything.
Yeah. Who are we? Don't trust us. Trust Everett.
Well, we'll just jump right in. Everett, what was it like to be part of the original production 10 years ago?
Well, first of all, it's hard to believe that it was 10 years ago. It doesn't even seem possible. Mm-hmm. It was, I remember Schley coming up to me and saying, "Hey, I need you to do this. Help me with this." After we had finished doing the musical Oklahoma. And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm in, whatever. I love you. I'm going to do anything that you ask me to." And I didn't realize that it would involve so many late nights, but fun late nights in various classrooms and museum. We did spend the night in the museum, classrooms and theaters, and a night in the museum, and everything leading into it. But it was a blast, and one of my fondest memories. In fact, I lived just 3 or 4 blocks away from the Sternberg, and every time I drive by, I'm like, "Yeah, I remember doing shows down there, the little natural amphitheater and everything like that."
That's so fun. Okay, my next question is like, do you have any fun behind the scenes stories? But I want to hear more about the night at the museum, or Schlee's version of Night at the Museum.
So, for those that may not know, the Sternberg Museum here in Hays, Kansas, is this big round building. It's a dome, and they have models of dinosaurs in there. They've got fossils and all sorts of stuff. And I don't know how Schlee arranged for us to have after hours access to the museum, but we were in there, and some of these dinosaurs are kind of they have sensors on them. They'll they have a Tyrannosaurus Rex that'll roar at you if you get too close to it. So it's like 11 o'clock midnight and someone's running by. And all of a sudden and you have all these dark tunnels and passageways, and we were trying to set stuff up, and it's a completely surreal and weird feeling that you are expecting anything to come to life at any moment.
You were just living Jurassic Park.
It was a lot like living Jurassic Park.
There was a thing in like the first Jurassic World where it's like you hit a button and there's like the holograms of the dinosaurs that come up. And I can only imagine that, but like at 3 a.m. And so that's so fun.
And a little punch drunk on lack of sleep and excitement and getting the show ready and trying to corral the actors and everything.
Did you know anything about like the Bone Wars era before the show?
No, and it was surprising that I didn't, because I love dinosaurs and paleontology and museums as a kid, and it seemed like something, and also Old West, Wild West culture growing up in Western Kansas. So it seems like it would be a natural thing to know about. But I didn't know anything about it. In fact, I've talked to a lot of people over the years who didn't know much about it.
Yeah, I knew nothing about it until I saw Shlee like posting about it, and I was like, what is this? And so the way I've been explaining it to people, it's like it's the gold rush, but fossils
Yeah,
and a lot of weird happenings. The
and
weird, yeah.
competition and
Mhm.
backstabbing and fighting and people turning on each other.
Yeah, the weird history is definitely like my favorite part because it's I don't know if anyone else like shares this experience, but whenever I think about like days of yore, I expect all these like super polished people and not just like idiots like everybody else. And so the weird history is my favorite. What was like the weirdest history thing you learned in the research for this show, or your favorite?
Probably a lot about OC Marsh's. It almost seemed like it was a desire to prove himself to his wealthy uncle, who provided his education, and this seemed like just such an odd and weird way to try and prove his worth, and that his education did not go to waste or anything like that, was to find these dinosaur bones and put them together at a time when we really didn't even know what those were.
Yeah. Yeah, I can just imagine the pressure and how it like very quickly can contribute to like the devolving of a person and just all of these happenings. It's so the more I learn about it, the more I get like sucked into it. And it's like this is incredibly interesting. And I just want to keep knowing more about these people. Who's our favorite guy, Shlee, who rode naked on horseback?
Oh, Jimmy Bennett, James Gordon Bennett. Yeah.
I will never not be interested in whatever that man was doing. Did you have a James Gordon Bennett in the original?
I don't remember. Do you?
Yeah, we did. We had the whole like our version of the show started out in Bennett's office.
That's right.
We had Henry Stanley coming in, having found Dr. Livingston, and then we had the funny like the whiskey back and forth, and so Bennett would always pour a whiskey for Stanley and then drink it himself.
That's right. Yeah. I do remember that.
Yeah.
That's so fun. I just if I had it my way, it would just be a musical about him, because I think you could do like a 10-part docu-series on whatever this man was doing with not just the whole one, just him. Shlee mentioned earlier that you're like a playwright and a very accomplished playwright. So what's like one piece of advice you would give to us or anyone who's watching who's interested in this and trying to write an original script?
Don't be afraid. I was just I'm in rehearsals for a play myself right now, and I was traveling back from rehearsals, and I was talking to an older gentleman that's in the show. He's in his 70s, and I said, one thing that held me back as a writer early on was trying to play it safe and not take risks. And so my advice is always don't be afraid to take the risks. Don't be afraid to take the big swings, to take the chance. I've got a play that it's based on Dracula, and I've got in the script, it's got horses and all sorts of stuff. And I'm like, I don't know how it would ever be produced, but that's not my concern. My concern as the writer is to take the big swings. So my advice to any writer is always take the big swings, don't be afraid, and let the directors figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually really great advice because I know so many young writers who are just always concerned. It's like, how is this gonna like go up on stage? How is everything? It's like, don't worry about that. Get it on paper, and that's someone else's job.
Yeah, unless you're directing that first show.
Shlee. So this is your concern.
I have done myself though, as I directed my own first shows a lot too.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
but
Shlee's
even then, I don't worry about that until I get to the production side. And then it's all right. Let's figure this out.
Yeah, this is next month me's problem.
Yeah.
This is not today's me's problem.
Yeah.
And I guess the burning question, what are you most excited for the Bone Wars musical adaptation?
Well, I'm just excited to see how the story progresses and what happens in the second half of Act 1 and all of Act 2. And I've heard rumblings over the years about different things that she's got planned and everything like that. But I can't wait to see it all come to fruition and how it all comes together and is just amazing, because I know it will be.
Yeah, we're all excited. We all know it's going to be amazing. Has she shared like the concept playlist with you yet?
I don't think so, but
We can also find that on our social media for Everett and everyone who's watching this after I post it in our link tree. I've linked that Spotify playlist, so everyone can go watch it. It's got everything from like Lil Nas X to AC/DC and like Dropkick Murphys.
Nice.
It's such a weird, beautiful conglomeration of music.
I have one of those playlists.
Don't we all? And I love hearing concept playlists because it's like, oh, I can't wait to see how this translates its way on stage.
Definitely.
Shlee, did you have any other spur of the moment things? I think we covered everything on the list that's right next to me.
Yeah, Everett, I want to know what productions you have of your shows coming up next and where they are.
Well, I'm currently in a production of Leaving Iowa. It opens the 1st of August in Russell, Kansas, and I've got the lead role in that. And as for my own personal work, everything's kind of summertime. So, and my target's really the junior high, grade school, high school market. And so a lot of that is on pause at the moment. However, I am working on a radio play for, I believe it's Small Fish Radio Theater, that will be horror themed. And the theme is a lock-in. Somebody's locked into something. And I'm playing with the concept of what it actually means to be locked in. And I was talking to my writing partner, and he was waiting for these trains to come by, and he's talking to me about, oh, there's a car in between the two tracks in this little town. There's a railroad tracks and railroad tracks in between, and somebody got stuck in between there as gates were coming down. And that's kind of the concept I'm playing with, is someone's stuck in between two trains as they're coming. And so that's one of the things I'm working on right now. Like I said, my target's mostly the high school and community theater market, and the grade school and middle school as well. So my stuff's kind of on hold at the moment, but hopefully come October, November, December, we'll be having news of more stuff.
That's awesome. Yeah, people don't think about that too much, but that is a massive market, high school, middle school. Like, if you can get in there, it's nice.
Yeah.
And I'm just getting chills thinking about the feeling of just like being like stuck like in such a small space. I'm just like freaking out thinking about it.
Right?
So kudos to you. I haven't even read it and I'm already scared. All right.
Fantastic. That's what we like.
Yeah, well, feel free to share with us, either tag the Bone Wars page or share with me and Riley directly, where we can read or access, or where teacher friends and stuff can look at some of your work. Be happy to share some of that.
Absolutely. I tell you guys right off the bat, where I tell everybody, go to New Play Exchange. If you're not a member of New Play Exchange, sign up and become a member of New Play Exchange. It's cheap. It's $10 or $20 a year. And that's where you can find tons of new works from some of the best playwrights in the country. And you can read them, you can download them, you can offer, recommendations on stuff you like. So all my stuff's available on New Play Exchange. If you also type in Emergency Room Productions, that's the name of my production and playwriting company, is Emergency Room Productions.
Yes, new works supporting new works. We'd love to see it. Great. Well, Everett, thank you so much for stopping by. Did you have anything for us? Any last comments on Bone Wars? Any burning questions for us?
Just let me know when it's going to be put up, and I'm going to do my best to be there, front seat, center front seat.
Whatever the seating arrangement is, you'll be there.
A big bowl of popcorn.
For sure. Alrighty.
And I also want to know, are you going to be able to get Marsh's crazy mustache beard thing going?
I also have that question.
We ever manage that?
I mean, I think that's a requirement. I don't think you can do Marsh and Cope without requiring the requisite facial hair. I think there's a lot of things you can play with, but that's just something that cannot leave.
Yeah, and Marsh had some crazy facial hair.
Oh yeah, that was fun putting that on you.
1800s facial hair is something you can't mess with. It's its own thing.
Yes,
Truly a league of their own.
Yes, I think the goal will be to bring it back, repopularize it.
There we go. I like it.
Yes. All right.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being.
Break legs and have lots of fun.
Thank you. Thanks,
right.
Everett.
Well, we will see you, everyone watching. We'll see you next week for another Fossil Friday. Thank you.